Now, after Easter, after the disciples started going around and teaching different people, as the faith spread, they needed to explain ideas to people. Yes, we all know that. And some of the best ways to explain ideas to people is to use a symbol or an image or an idea they already understand. Now, normally, what's over here in the corner where this cross is in the month of December? Anyone? A tree. So there were these trees in parts of Europe and parts of other parts of the world that did not die. They stayed green year-round. Great way to teach the idea of eternity. And of course, when we get to the spring, we have flowers, we have all sorts of things blooming. What's something that's a symbol of rebirth, a symbol of new life that we see so often this time of year? Besides flowers.
Birds.
Something that we no longer buy the real version of. We've all gone to the fake plastic kind. They're too expensive. Eggs. Not a hard idea. We know what an egg is. A bird lays an egg, a baby comes out, and lots of other animals lay eggs. But an egg. An egg, usually, if the animal has laid it, is going to grow into a new animal. I'd like to tell you about some very special Easter eggs. They were the most expensive Easter eggs ever. A long time ago, Russia had a monarchy. They didn't have a king, they had an emperor. He was called a Tsar, and then he was called an emperor. And the emperor of Russia, his father had been assassinated. And someone sent him an egg. Not a real egg, a fake egg, a black egg. When he opened it up, there were little daggers inside, little silver daggers, decorative. It was a threat. They were saying, we're going to get you like we got your dad. And he looked at that egg, and his wife was terrified. The empress was absolutely beside herself. She was very, very scared. And he looked at that egg, and it gave him an idea. It gave him a very clever idea. So he went to the royal jeweler. He said, this Easter, because the Russians are Orthodox, and in the Orthodox Church, Easter was as big a deal as we make Christmas. All of the energy and the time we put into Christmas, they put into Easter. He said, this Easter, I want you to make me a very special Easter egg. Out of precious metals and beautiful enamel. And he made the first Fabergé egg. It was made by, that was the family that made it, the royal jeweler was Fabergé, and it was beautiful. And every Easter, he would make a new one, and the emperor would give it to his wife. And so that little egg that had terrified her with its message became something beautiful. And when the emperor died, his son continued the tradition, giving his own wife one and his mother. And they were beautiful. Some of them had little mechanisms in them where they would pop up with a picture. Some of them would open up and have little carriages inside, all sorts of little things. You can see one of these eggs here in Ohio. If you go to the Cleveland Museum of Art, there's a Fabergé egg from World War I. It's the Red Cross egg because the emperor's wife and daughters were Red Cross nurses during the war. And these eggs still remain today. They were in all sorts of private collections and all sorts of museums. You can still see them. And yes, it's a story of wealth. And yes, it's a story that's very, very complicated with a complicated history, but it's a beautiful message. The idea came from something that was meant to cause fear and hopelessness. We're going to get you just like we got your father. But from it, Alexander III came up with a beautiful tradition and something that still exists today to look at. A beautiful piece of culture, a piece of that time that can be looked at and seen. And that's what Easter's about. New life. A group of people who thought everything was over, that they'd lost, that they were about to be destroyed, and yet it wasn't an end, only a chance for a new beginning.